In this video, I'm going to continue talking about passive participles. And one thing to remember about participles is that they are adjectives. They're verbal adjectives, which means they have to match the antecedent in case, gender, and number. Just like adjectives match whatever noun they're describing in case, gender, and number, so do participles. Now we're going to ignore case for now. We'll come back to that later. And look at gender and number. We've actually already done gender. That's what we talked about in the last video. How if you have a sentence like this, amicus agrumione invitatus advenit, that the participle ends in us because its antecedent, the word it's describing, is masculine. Thus we have the masculine form of the participle. And down here, similarly, femina agrumione invitata advenit. Our participle invitata is the feminine form because the antecedent, the thing that it's describing, is feminine. So just like adjectives, participles match the antecedent in gender. And today we're also going to talk about number, which means singular or plural. So let's talk about how you make a plural passive participle. Remember that they are 2-1-2 adjectives, so they're going to use first and second declension endings. So we have the singular masculine is invitatus. The plural masculine would then be invitati. And again, that I is coming from second declension masculine plural. Okay. Feminine singular would be invitata, and then we think of our first declension feminine plural ending ae, so invitatae for plural. And then neuter, again we think of second declension, neuter singular is so we have invitatum, and then over in the plural neuter for second declension it is a, so we have invitata. Now these are only the nominative forms, so this is nominative singular, nominative plural. Nominative singular, nominative plural. Nominative singular, nominative plural. We'll look at the other cases in the next video, but right now, these are our 6 forms of the passive participles that we're going to have. So one thing to remember is that the participle, another thing to remember, is that the participle matches the gender and number, but not the declension. Okay, we can have third declension nouns as our antecedent, and we're still only going to use those 6 forms of the participles that we just saw, because just like with adjectives, even though we're describing a third declension noun, we can only use first and second declension endings. So if we were talking about the fathers, the patres, okay, they are nominative plural, and we can't say invitates because that's a third declension ending and we can only use first and second declension. Thus we have invitati. Okay, so patres invitati. They're not the same ending because they're coming from different declensions, but they are both masculine nominative plural. Same thing down here if we had mothers, if we had a feminine word, matres. Okay, they would be their participle form, or the form of the participle to describe them would be invitatai, because we're looking at feminine plural to describe our feminine plural. Again, the endings don't match, but the gender and number do. Okay? And for translating these, there's no difference in translating. You're just going to have a plural antecedent. They are still translated verbed or having been verbed. Okay, so here we have the amici, the friends, agrumione invitati, having been invited by Grumio, arrived. Okay, once again, that's the friends invited by Grumio arrived. And that's no different than if it was just one friend. We could have said the friend invited by Grumio arrived. The translation of the participle is not going to change depending on whether that is singular or plural. Another example, feminae, so the women, invitatai, invited by Grumio, talking about the women, invited by Grumio, advenerunt, arrived. Again, it's still just invited or having been invited for the translation. It doesn't matter if it's singular or plural.